And hello. I'm seeing live on my end. Are you seeing live on your end, Sally?
No.
Okay. I think we're live. I'm pretty sure we're live. Let me look and see. Yes.
We're
Okay. Hang
live.
tight just
Are
a
we live?
second. We are live. Yes, we are. Hold on just a second let me see if I can do this. I'll see if okay, it does allow me to tag you. Awesome. All right.
I love those earrings.
Well, thank you. I love them too.
I'm
I
checking
love them
them out right now.
I love them too. I love your Milan necklace, our
Right?
new latest and greatest that we just released last week.
I know.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Miss Sally Sue, Sally Neff. I am so excited for us to be here live for is this the first time we've done this?
The first time.
The first time. Okay. So let me say something really quick for our viewers that are joining us. So I am here today with Sally Neff. She is a company VP with Park Lane Jewelry. I've known Sally for a decade now. Is that right?
That's
Decade.
decade.
And we are streaming live on Facebook via an app called StreamYard. All right. So for you guys that are watching and seeing, first of all, if you're here watching us live, please comment live in the comments. If you catch us via replay, let us know that you saw it. Comment replay, please. And if you will hit the button, there's a button. If you hit the button, then whenever you comment, we can actually see who's commenting. Like right now, I can see Trisha said hello, Jessica Seitz is here, Amanda, Elizabeth Baker, Linda. Like, this is awesome. If you don't hit that button, you can totally comment and we'll see your comment. It just tells us that you're a Facebook user. We don't know who you are. You're like a mystery person commenting, which is fine, but we'd love to know who's here. So just hit the button and then StreamYard tells us. I'm excited.
I
I
think we
think
can
we
see
can
the
see the
comment.
comment. I can see the comments. Are you not able to see the comments?
No.
No. Okay. All right. I can see the comments. I thought you could as well. That's weird. All right. Well, I can see them. So we've got lots watching us, and we're streaming in a couple of different groups. And I'm honored to be here today talking with you, Sally, because number one, I love you dearly as a friend. And I'm cracking up that we're in the same city, but yet we're doing this virtually because we live about, I don't know, 45 minutes apart from each other. You have been here on this journey with me at Park Lane for how many months now?
22.
22 months, not that you're counting. 22 months. It'll
Definitely.
be 2 years in November. We'll be talking more about that in a bit. But for those of you that don't know Sally, I want you to share with the world, like, tell me a little bit about yourself, your background, and what you did prior to being a jewelry stylist.
Of course. Welcome, everybody. Do you hear an echo on my end, Tish?
I do not.
Okay, perfect. My name is Sally Neff, and I grew up in a small town in Kentucky. And I went to college and graduate school, and I studied education, and I studied elementary school counseling. And it was 100% my passion. I loved teaching. I loved counseling. I loved working with children and helping them overcome obstacles. I loved working with parents, and I loved being the advocate for children. It was something that I was super passionate about. I married my high school boyfriend, and we had one child at the time, and we packed up our little family in Kentucky and we moved to Orange County, California. That was in 2011. And it was there that I was a stay-at-home mom for all of 4 weeks until my husband asked me about something that I had purchased. And I was like, oh, this might not really work out. I did not earn a lot of income as a school counselor. However, I had income of my own. And we had never really had that conversation before about what is this? What is it that you purchased? And I was kind of like, okay, I got to figure something out. So, anywho, I had seen a jewelry company and I kind of was curious about it. A lot of people over the years had always told me that I should be in sales. And I was so just really passionate about my education career that I was kind of like, yeah, that's so sweet of you. And I literally never thought another thing of it. And so we landed in California, and I needed to meet people. I needed to become friends with people. I needed to establish connections for my family. And that is one thing that has always been a huge driver of mine, is connections amongst people. Even though I wasn't selling a product, I was always connecting people. I was always making impact upon people's lives. And I didn't really realize that like a direct selling platform would be something that would really take my talents in a much larger space in the world. So I ended up joining a jewelry company, and I built that organization very quickly. It was kind of lightning speed. I had nothing to lose. I didn't know a single person. I found this as though, oh my gosh, this is something for me. I can totally work this flexibly. I can take care of this little boy of mine. My husband traveled, and it just became an incredible fit. Reese was born when we lived in California. So I went through a pregnancy. I went through bed rest. I went through then another transition that we were picking up our family again and moving to Texas, where I didn't know anybody again. And that business was there with me the whole time. And it was something that I poured my heart, soul, and energy into. And I loved every single moment of it. And it was then that I realized, like, okay, so this whole direct selling space, all these like things that I thought about it actually is an incredible platform for a woman who wants to earn income working from home or working flexibly around another job. And one of the things that I found the most that what really like was a coincidence for me was the fact that I was able to take all of the years of training that I had in counseling, and I was able to inspire and impact the lives of women in the way that, you know, they built confidence, they transformed into versions of themselves that they didn't even know that was within themselves. And it was this vehicle of jewelry that gave me the opportunity to do that. So I loved it. And I met you.
Yes, we met when you were living in California, pregnant with Reese.
Yes, we did.
Yeah,
I sat at a little round table, and I had just had Reese, and we were actually getting ready to transition, move to Texas. And you asked me how long I'd been with the company, and I told you. And then I shared a couple stats about what was kind of happening on my team, and you literally leaned in and you went, I need to know more about what you're doing. I was like, okay, this mega woman is like wanting to be my friend, wanting to know about me, when I was like, wait, I wanted to sit by you because I needed to ask you a lot of questions. I didn't even get there. And that's when I was like, Tish Mefford is literally the leader of all leaders. She had no idea who I was, but you just wanted to learn. You were like, tell me, now how are you doing this? And then you're asking more questions. And I was like, that's how you build an empire.
Well, I may not, I will never claim to be the smartest one in the room, but I am smart enough to stop and listen and learn from others that are experiencing success. It's like, well, so tell me about that. Well, tell me about that. Well, tell me about that. I'll tell you all I can tell you, but I want to hear what you're doing as well, because together we're better, right? And I've just always known that. So I still remember that meeting. And we became fast friends, and I watched you from afar. I remember you going through some really big promotions. I helped you all that I could, even though, you know, I wasn't clearly on your team or you on my team. I just loved you and wanted only the best for you. And then fast forward a few years ago, I ended up leaving that first company, and I partnered with a different company. I love that you talked about how you love what it represents, and how you're able to still make a big impact through selling jewelry. And you love that love that it can help women build their confidence and, you know, bring joy to their lives, all these things. And it's interesting because when I was having a conversation with someone yesterday about this, And she was telling me that she was talking to someone and said, I just don't think I want to sell jewelry. And I said to her, I said, it's interesting. When I got into this business 14 years ago and I signed up to sell jewelry, it wasn't that I had the desire to sell jewelry because I knew nothing about jewelry and I didn't even wear a lot of jewelry. I was looking for a way to make money. Like that is how I landed in this space. I knew nothing about jewelry. I was not a fashionista. I knew nothing about the business, but it looked like a pretty simple way for me to make money. And now I love selling jewelry because it's simple and it's fun. That's why I love selling jewelry. It's simple and it's fun. And I'm passionate about helping women build their own jewelry businesses because it's simple and it's fun. Like that's it. It's pretty that simple. I'm a pretty simple gal. So anyway, I appreciate you sharing that.
Well, I've always loved jewelry.
See, there we go.
I will tell you right now, people tell me all the time, they're like, Sally, you could sell anything. I'm like, yeah, maybe. But here's the thing. If there's a product that I love, if it's a product that I believe actually creates massive impact in people's lives, you've like unleashed this momentum of, I mean, it's just innate with who I am. And I mean, I see jewelry and literally I can feel a feeling. I will literally be like, okay, that piece right there is a game changer. And like, that just changed what's happening in the next 2 months. And like, I can feel it. It's a gift.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful I have it. Because then people are like, what do you feel on this? And I'm like, I'm not feeling anything.
Mm-hmm.
But when I do, then I'm like, oh, here we go. It's going to be a good one.
Here we go. When we came out with the Rue necklace, shortly after you had arrived at Park Lane, I was like, get ready. Sally is getting behind this Rue necklace. I hope we have, like, order more. And whatever you ordered, like, quadruple it because we're going to need it.
Yes. Then we took that design and created the earrings. And that was such an amazing item to add to the collection because it's one of the most incredible sale unlockers.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
I love sharing about the customer sale. We'll talk about more about that in just a minute.
Okay. All right. So let's fast forward. Okay. So you get in the industry. Clearly you love it. Clearly you become, a powerhouse and have incredible success at the company that you started with.
Yes.
But now you're here. Okay.
Well,
so walk me through that.
In the fact that, the first company I was with will always hold such a special place in my heart. I will never take for granted what I learned there. I will never, ever, ever not, give the power to the training that I received and, just all of those benefits that came from learning the business and the industry. Mm-hmm. And I look as though that was honestly just like a little warm up for what I was preparing to do in like the second phase. Mm-hmm. And what I learned from that immediately was many different things. I learned to always follow your gut. I've learned a lot about something called groupthink. I've learned a lot about really being aware of what's happening around you, listening to the people who are in your sales organization. And when you see like enough red flags that you have to be brave and bold enough to not just be concerned about yourself, but the people who have trusted you to bring them into this type of business. The company that I was with actually did some restructuring, and that restructuring was affecting people's incomes massively. I mean, huge. A lot of questions that I had as far as like, this restructuring and why it's taking place, and answers that I were receiving, they weren't matching up from the answers of people from the head office. Mm-hmm. And they were, things that would be kind of scary, like, well, it's because of the FTC. And I spent about a week talking to other leaders in the industry. I talked to actually a couple CEOs. I asked a lot of questions about the FTC, and I realized what was actually being told to me had nothing to do with the structure of the company that I was currently with. Mm-hmm. That just sounded like a really good answer. And that was kind of, one of the first things where I was like, okay, you have people who trust you, and this restructuring is going to be taking place soon. And you really need to think about what you're doing. You need to think about the fact if you can honestly, at that point in time, I received phone calls from my team and then from other people just that were at the company asking me questions like, Sally, do you think everything's okay? And it got to the point where, I could always answer authentically. You guys were fine. Like, my team was fine. We were on a growth trajectory at that point in time. Um, but when I would answer that question as time passed, there was like a pit in my stomach. And I realized, like, I'm not being authentic. However, I don't want to create panic for people. So I really just started uncovering, and that I picked up the phone and I actually called Tish one day and I said, okay, I need to know if you have a plan B. And she was like, I'm sorry, a plan B for what? I was like, okay, if I'm not selling jewelry, or if the team is having trouble selling jewelry and the team's trouble having, booking parties and all these kinds of things, and, direct selling's over, and I'm like just giving her all these things. And she's like, wait, Sally, pause. What are you talking about? And so she basically told me she did not have a plan B, that Park Lane was really working out. And I was kind of like, okay, well, that's not an option for me. So if you have a plan B, I'd love for you to call me. Put me first on your list. And so, we chatted. This is like, I don't know, probably 6 weeks of time. And I honestly was looking to Tish as a guide in the industry. I was looking at a lot of different things. I was looking at, I don't know, a plethora of things: clothing companies, CBD oil companies, wine companies. I mean, talking to anybody who I respected as a business leader. And I had phone calls with my friends who, have been CMOs of companies, CFOs of companies. And I was on this quest to gather my own information because I knew I was going to have to make a change and I didn't know where I needed to land. And so when I would have those conversations and I talked to some of my friends, they would ask me like, okay, so what's happening? Tell me what you see happening. And I was like, we had changes in programs all the time. Like, there's less for stylists and there's less for customers, more every single day. There was a challenge with the product. Like, people on my team were telling me, well, I just feel like people are kind of over what we currently have, and I'm really hoping to see the collection change. And where I saw that was the product line wasn't diversified enough. We had a lot of product categories, but what was in those categories didn't speak to every single person. It spoke to someone like me. It spoke to someone who shopped at Anthropologie. It spoke to someone who had a very specific style type. We had changes in processes. It was like one day it was okay to do it this way. The next day it wasn't okay to do it this way. And I was in the middle of it, trying to be the person who had all the solutions and solve the problems. And I spent time every single day on the phone calling the head office, trying to smooth out issues. Inventory issues. Okay, there were inventory issues. This is way pre-pandemic. And those inventory issues would then hinder promotions happening or new stylists earning what they thought they had earned because an inventory item wasn't in inventory. So that sale actually didn't go through. But the people were not, they didn't know that was happening. And so then what would happen is, oh, why didn't I hit that goal? And it was another me smoothing things over, doing all these emails, calling people, trying to like be the solution maker. And when this was completely all out of my control, the news of the week would be who now had left. And I've learned over time that when a company spends more time discussing who is leaving versus who is promoting, you guys, that is the biggest key to losing belief. It is the biggest key to losing like big dreams that are happening. If you have discussions more about who's leaving versus who is promoting, that company is really not in a safe space. Less promotions that were happening. I mean, it was one of the things, people didn't have a vision. They didn't know where they were going. They didn't see promotions happening. They didn't see this energy. leaders checking out. And when you think of like a leader checking out, yeah, I mean, leaders are humans too. And sometimes they have to take a break. But like if a leader is checking out, that is such a huge like sign to me as far as like they're tired. Why are they tired? Because they're dragging people along. And if leaders are checking out, then it's it's a pulse and it's a momentum and it's an energy that's being lost, and the heartbeat of the like desire to do more, you can't create that if you have leaders on your team checking out. I mean, there's not, you need to really dig in and figure out why they're checking out. And they were checking out because of all of the answers that I had listed above. So I'm like sharing all these things with, I'm sharing all these things with business people not in direct sales. I'm having these phone calls, I'm sharing this information, and then it's like diversifying products. Well, now we're just going to add more products to the line when this party plan business is having a really hard time booking parties, maintaining stylists, and recruiting new stylists. And so adding more products for people to then complicate it even more. It's not a simplified business. I mean, rather than looking at the roadblocks, it was just adding more things, which didn't make sense to me. And then, typically, when you see like markets closing, like if you have a business and they have a European branch, and then if they have like, I don't know, design centers, or if they have like things closing and like the answers as far as like why things are closing, and then you talk to the people who are affected and things didn't really add up, that for me was a big red flag. And then watching products that you would sell as a direct selling representative show up in Target, show up in Nordstrom during a holiday season. Those were things that just simply I couldn't align with, in the fact that I had brought people into this business with an opportunity that this is something that is your business. You're not going to have competition. You're going to actually be able to really provide incredible service for people who can't get that service from what we are offering in big department stores. And then your product category happens to be there. It didn't align with anything that I believed in, and what I was going to then offer to my team as far as this is something good for us. I don't think anybody would walk into a big business retailer and see a direct selling company there and think to myself, oh my gosh, I need to go sign up. It might build the brand, but as far as like really impacting the stylist force, you're losing sales to a big brand name retail store. Liquidation, you hear the word liquidation, it's something that, it's a word that, like, if you aren't selling your category, if your products in a big sale, and it's then going to something with liquidation involved, people can spin it however they want. But I mean, it was just, once I started sharing all of these things, I mean, my friend, they'd be listening and they'd kind of be like, so what are you going to do? Where are you going to go? What do you think you should do? And I'm like, I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out. And I'm like, there's this jewelry company. And like, I mean, I could go there, but I mean, every single person who loves me and wants the best for me tells me, Sally, we love you, but you can't go to Park Lane. And then they were like, why are they telling you that? And I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, well, what does Park Lane have to offer? I'm like, I don't know, because I mean, I can't find that out. And, it was like, once you then talk to people outside of this bubble that you're in, you realize, like, I'm being played a fool. So there we go. I was like, all right, okay, ego aside, what's this Park Lane thing doing? Why are you guys growing? I don't even understand. This is so hard for me to understand why you have growth trajectory right now. So yeah. Those were the things that, honestly, I was looking at that space at that time, and it was just something that I was like, okay, I have to uncover things I have to really ask hard questions. I've got to ask hard questions of myself. I'm never going to be a person that plays it easy and just kind of turns a cheek and hope things work out, cross my fingers, because that's just not anything that even aligns with the pulse of my heart, that makes me move my life forward every single day. I tell people, I tell my kids, I'm like, hope is not a strategy. Action is a strategy. Even if it's hard information, you have to find out the truth as far as like what's going on. Like I can't just turn my cheek and then pretend like, well, this is happening, but I'm going to pretend it's not, because that feels safe for me. That actually creates massive anxiety for me. So then I look at, where I left. So I left in November of 2019. I had 4 months under my belt before we were in a pandemic. And luckily, within those first 4 months, I had enough experience in front of people. I took my jewelry in front of people. I watched customers' reactions. I watched hostesses' reactions. I was literally in this space of just gathering my own information from like a customer standpoint and a hostess standpoint. And it wasn't, there was anything exceptional of me, Sally Neff. It was because then I showed up with programs that blew the minds of people that had actually, trusted me for years in styling them. And that was something where when I heard about the Park Lane programs and how they played out, it wasn't until I was really in that space that things started clicking. Like when I was at one in-home show, and a hostess of mine had hosted multiple times, and she said, okay, guys, I'm hosting this party tonight, and I'm so excited because any other time that you've been shopping at my house, like I get these rewards. But what I love about what Sally has done and partnered with Park Lane is the fact that every single one of you get to create your own customer sale. And, and so it was literally, I mean, people have heard about this party. There's a girl on my team who actually brought it up the other day. She was like, I remember hearing about a party that took place in the neighborhood, and that there were women lined up to check out with you at this party, and you couldn't even get to everybody. And I'm like, oh, it was in March. It was right before the pandemic. I know exactly when it was. Yes, I know that party. And, it was just things like that. That then it was like, within probably 2 weeks of being at Park Lane, I knew in those first 2 weeks, I have uncovered a gem. And I am so grateful that, first of all, Tish had the courage to do it way before, and that I had enough, drive about myself to uncover things, to look to see if this was to be an option for me. And then I realized very quickly, this is not just an option for me, but this is an option, this is a solution for so many people. And that's where I became really, really passionate. And it's our hostess plan. In this party plan business, if you do not have a hostess plan that literally blows the socks off of people, it's not you. It's not you that you're doing something wrong. It's because you don't have the tool that you need. And our hostess plan it's incredible. Our customer buying plan, one of the things that we know, if you're a woman, you get a value and a deal, and you can't not tell your friends about it. It's this just pulse that just keeps moving, and it's something that people love, and they come back and they shop more, and they want to tell their friends about it. And it's not as though, I remember having to give stuff away, trying to, book parties and all this kind of stuff. Here it's like, in all honesty, I might have another date, but like I have to look. And it's coming from this place of abundance. And when you think of an abundance mindset, I've always been driven by an abundance mindset. I believe that this world is full of faith, and it's full of abundance, and it should never be fear-led. And fear sometimes seeks in when you know you don't have the tools, and you're just stretching yourself thin, and you're trying to figure out why all the reasons that it is that like why you're not working. Well, many times it's because it wasn't until this second stage that I realized how important these programs are in this direct selling space in particular. With our RRC, I have people ask me a lot. They're like, okay, so like when you become a new stylist at Park Lane, like what can you earn in your first 60 days? And that's from the previous company. And I'm kind of like, oh, it's not 60 days. It's you can earn up to $1,300 in free jewelry every single month. And then there's like incentives that they roll out every single week. And like you just have boxes of jewelry arriving. And honestly, you don't even really know where it has come from. And, you know, one of the things too is here, you can host as many shows as you want. And you don't have to put them in your puppy dog's name. You here can honestly be like, I'm opening a party this week. And guess what? I'm going to raffle off the rewards to the friends who want to shop. And do you know what? That's fun. And there is one thing that I have always known, what people actually are drawn to. You can talk about income. You can talk about an opportunity that, you know, impacts lives and helps women. People want fun in their lives. If it is not fun, you've lost them. And with what we have happening at Park Lane, it's so funny. The girls on my team will describe it as once you join, it's like jumping on the Audubon. Like you either jump on or they've already passed you. Like you got to go because it's like, it's this momentum and it's this pulse and it's like this creativity. And the thing is, one of the things that I love the most is being here at Park Lane. You can actually create the most incredible visions and you can make them come to life because of all these programs we have in place. Last week, we had this mega birthday bash for Park Lane. Company's been around for 66 years. So if you're hearing in a direct selling space that you have to be with the company at a ground floor opportunity, I joined, I think, at year 64. And you know what? It's like, it literally feels like the first year, like that the company's ever been in business because we're constantly evolving. We're constantly learning. We're constantly like changing things up. And so this birthday bash that we did, I mean, I've always dreamed of having like a big event for my team. Like that I would like book this room and I'd have like all these fabulous things like champagne and cupcakes and all these customers shopping. And like, it was this gift that I would give my team. And little did I know that that vision of mine actually became a reality. It was just in a virtual space. And seeing these women and like the customers of ours last week in this party had so much fun. I mean, it was like we put the party out. It happened in 4 days. Everybody closed their parties. I mean, it was literally a volume generator of like over $100,000. And people on my team, stylists were messaging me and they're like, Sally, I can't even thank you. Like it's August. This is the month when like people are going back to school. There's a million transitions. It's the last month of the year that people are going to think, oh my gosh, this is the month I'm literally going to explode my business. But what we did was we showed up with fun and people want fun. And people especially want fun right now because people they want light. It's a heavy world out there. And like, if you show up and provide women value, a place where they can learn about fashion and style, and they're getting, you know, half off items, free items, giveaways, birthday cakes. I mean, it's like something that like they can't say no. And it's just, it's a magnet. And that is something that I could never have orchestrated. It never would have happened in a million years, you know, years ago, because I didn't have the programs. I didn't have the things that I needed to really, really, really enhance a team to do big, fun, wild things. The Mercedes car program, I mean, that's something, you know, it's like, I think in 2 years, I don't know, I think we have like 21 earners so far. It's not that I'm just driving a Mercedes. It actually took me longer than anyone on my team to earn the Mercedes car program because when it's based on leadership levels. And I knew, I was like, all right, it might take me longer. Was that something that like defeated me? No, it was something that like drove me. Like, oh my gosh, when I finally get there, it's going to be amazing. And like, we love our Mercedes. I mean, I'd never have a Mercedes in a million years, but like, Parkland's paying for my Mercedes. And, you know, the direct to point program, that is something else as far as like why we're thriving. You know, I have leaders on my team who tell me often, yeah, I was called this week by this company. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then like at the previous company, I'd be like, what do you mean you were called by them? Who called you? What did they say to you? Oh my gosh, I've got to call my upline and tell her, like, we've got to put up the shields. And so like now I'm like, oh, really? I don't know that I've heard. So what, did they have anything to offer you? And they're like, nope. And like, I'm kind of like, well, I mean, gosh, that's why I love our direct to point program, because the thing is, you guys, if you have someone who has had 15 years of experience in a direct sales organization and they're looking to make a change at Park Lane, you have something to offer them, because people are going to then realize, oh my gosh, all those years that I spent building that organization are now actually valued. It's something that it's like, it's the smartest program on the planet. I came in through the direct to point program. And I think, you know, if people have referrals from me, and Kathy Cassidy is our national director. If Kathy calls you and she's like, so Sally Neff gave me your number, you know what? You need to listen up, because Sally Neff is not just going to pass out any number for anybody. It's because I know you'd really be a badass here. Mm-hmm. So that's something that I love so much. And I think 66 years in business, that is not something, that's not something that you just like shrug your shoulders. It's something where you really think of all the years of history of things that have taken place. And the family that owns this company, they are for their people. Nothing excites them more than hearing, I just got a check this month that has commas in it. And I mean, they're driven by the success of us. And it's not, they're successful. It's a 66-year-old company. They're not trying to make it.
Yeah.
So those are the things that, like, as far as, you know, what has been the change. And I mean, like, I looked yesterday just out of curiosity. I was like, okay, well, let me look at these numbers. Like, I don't know how much I've sold since I've been here. 4 months pre-pandemic, I was toting my jewelry around. I was talking to anybody I could talk to. So that's only 4 months of 22 months. I don't know what, I'm not even going to, 18 months. So 18 months I've been doing virtual shows, and $270,000 of accessories I've sold. That averages out to $12,000 a month. You guys, I'm not leaving my house. I am here to put little Reese Neff to bed every single night. They know the doors close. I mean, I'm not going to totally pat myself on my back, but like, y'all, I do my parties in 35 minutes. Not everybody has to do it that fast, but for me, I'm like, all right, I've always wanted to be on QVC. This is my moment. You're my people. I'm giving you a performance. Let's go. So, I mean, it's so fun. And I mean, the team, the impact of this team, I mean, $4 million is this. I mean, and yeah, like, that's just from like building every single month. I didn't walk in with like a group of people that came with me. I actually hung out by myself for quite a while over here. Mm-hmm. I just had to get the knowledge base of what the difference was. Mm-hmm. And once I picked up on the fact this is different, it's not the same story. It is something that I am so passionate about. If you have sold accessories and you were feeling in a space that isn't serving you, there is a solution here and there is a home here. If you have never sold accessories, I have so many people in my organization that have never sold accessories, and watching their transformation and their joy. And they, like, to me, I forget, oh, that's right, you haven't sold accessories before. Oh my gosh, you have people sending you pictures in their jewelry and they're thanking you. I get it. Yeah, it's like really impactful. And it's like, I think of like this team. I mean, it was so painful for me to walk away from these girls that I loved, and I still love them with my whole heart. Um, I really had an incredible, thriving group of women that was like, there was a synergy, and we could achieve things that people were like, how did they just do that? Tish saw it happen. I mean, it was incredible. And when I look at like the round two, call it the round two, it's still that. However, I don't have the roadblocks. I don't have the things. I'm not dragging people. I'm not reminding everybody, oh my gosh, we have a coffee chat on Thursday. Oh, you guys need to be there. I'm like, coffee chat on Thursday. And like, people are like, they're rearranging their schedule to be on the coffee chat because they want to be there. That's the difference. They want to show up, they want to work. I don't even send messages to my team like, hey, what's your plan for the end of the month? The end of the month is nothing here. It's like, we're not gearing up for, this to blow out, September, October, November, December, because now we have to make all of our income in the last quarter of the year. That's not how this works. People are earning massive incomes in the summer. And it's such a breath of fresh air, because you can then really dream. Like, I mean, okay, guys, let's think about this. If we did this in the summer, can you imagine what is going to be happening when people are shopping for holiday gifts? Because jewelry is it's like, I don't know, 60% of women, when they're asked what type of item they want, they select jewelry. Like, I'd love to receive jewelry. But it's like the team is just filled with kindness. It's filled with abundance. It's listening to people. It's not like, I mean, there are enough people in this organization that have come from different companies, many different years of direct selling experience. And this is like the space where you make it what you want it to be. All the things that you have rubbed up against all these years, it's not as though, I mean, people listen, they care about each other, they're solution makers. It's like a partnership in this organization. It's collaboration. There is not competition. We talk about income producing activities. We focus on fun. We talk about truth and authentic conversations, and it builds trust. And we come from a space of service. And we know that our job here is to help other women with this vehicle of Parkling Jewelry, with these programs. And I mean, I have watched incredible transformation. I have watched girls who were with me at my previous company transform into these leaders that I always knew that they were. They just didn't have the tools. And I have watched other people who have never done direct selling in their life. They've got full-time jobs, attorneys, school principals, and like, they're messaging me and they're like, I mean, I want to earn the Mercedes this month. I want to go on the trip. Like, they believe that this is for them. And that is something that, like, I mean, I'm so driven by it. And I'm so driven to share this with more people and let people know that this is a space for them. What we have happening is exceptional. We have taken this opportunity of this pandemic and we have transformed. And I mean, it's just such a breath of fresh air. And it truly is. There is no fear. It's completely driven on faith. And it's like what I always dreamed of creating is like in front of me. I don't know, Tish, did I leave anything out?
I mean, I had questions, but I think you answered all of them. I don't know. Sally, this is what makes me so happy. This is the Sally Neff that I know, and this is the Sally Neff that I met over a decade ago. And when you are set up in a place where you have the ability to be who you are, and you've got the tools that you need, and you have the tools to help this is what I know about you. If you were having all this success, but your team was struggling, like, you'd be a crazy person right now.
Yes, correct.
I know you. You'd be a crazy person. Your team is thriving, and it drives you more.
Yes.
because you're like, okay, well, they've only been here this amount of time and look what they've been able to do. And like I think about your bestie that you grew up with, who's the hairstylist, remind me her name, Alicia.
Alicia, yes.
Alicia,
Yes.
who works 6 days a week, right? At her job.
She's a single mom. She
Single
works
mom.
a lot.
And on Sundays, she does 3 Facebook parties.
Yes.
And every week she is selling about how much per week?
I don't, thousands, couple thousand. I mean, her parties are like 20 orders. Like, I mean, she's never done an in-home party in her life.
Right, right. And she is, I mean, you've taken someone who had a problem and was trying to figure out a way to layer in additional income around an incredibly busy life where she has no flexibility on those 6 days because she's working on people's hair 6 days a week. And she takes the one day that she can and she rocks it out. And she immediately brought in significant income, started bringing in significant income into her family, qualifying for the Mercedes car program, earning the trip, promoting up the career. I mean, all the things. And she'd never done this in her entire life.
Never.
And that is why I'm here. I'm here and I made this move. And I know you made this move because you could walk away from working and income and all the things and you would be fine. But
I don't know what I do with my time. What am I going to do with myself? What would I do with this situation here?
I have no idea. I don't know. Yeah. But you made this move from a very selfless perspective. And I made this move from a very selfless perspective. It wasn't about me when I was moving. It was because I was looking, I only knew what I knew until I knew something different. And, a couple nights ago, I interviewed Corey Liptak, and she said something in that interview. She's a clinical psychologist, and she just decided to sell some jewelry because she'd been laid off from the pandemic and all the things. And then she was like, one of the first things I learned from joining this profession and coming into this industry is I actually have choices. I have choices. I don't have to be stuck in this place, in this career my entire life if it's not what is fulfilling me and not working for me and my family. Yes, I love helping people, but I'm giving my all to helping people and I'm making very little in the process. And my boys are getting older and life is getting more expensive. And I only knew what I knew until I knew something different. And the minute I uncovered that there was what I felt would be a better opportunity for people and women that I wanted to coach and mentor and help build jewelry businesses, I was like, it's riskier for me to stay than it is to go. And if I go help.
I think we're on the same, I think both of us are getting the same information.
Oh, I'm going to turn my
phone dinging.
Okay. I was like, if I can go help others earn what they need and enjoy this business the way they are looking to enjoy it, then hopefully along the way, I'll be able to reach the goals and the needs that I have as well. And I know that was the same for you. So, I mean, it's been a whirlwind of 22 months. It's been super
wild.
And I'm so happy for you. And I'm so happy for your team. And I appreciate you. I appreciate you being brave enough to be bold and walk through that door that opened for you. And you reminded me recently that I said to you, it's going to take, you're going to have to be brave because you're going to have to be brave to make this change. I knew that from having been on the other side of it. But if you're willing to be brave, I can promise you it'll be a change worth making. And it's going to be life-changing for you. And it's been everything and so much more for you. So thank you. Thank you for sharing. I love you.
Love you too.
Appreciate you. This was really fun. Well overdue.
I mean, I didn't stop talking for 45 minutes, so I think I had a lot to say.
Thank you for putting your heart out there. I love you dearly. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.